Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 351. It's a good night tonight because we have returning to the Spawncast, Modern Vintage Gamer.
Hello, it's great to be back.
And his beard.
And his beard, yeah.
Yeah, I've been letting it grow out.
Okay, okay. For the winter?
Yeah, it's cold, you know.
Sure.
What is it, like a cold 60 out there or something?
Yeah, it's a cold 56 degrees right now.
Meanwhile, it's like single digits here. It is quite cold. Yeah, we just got a fair amount of snow here recently. So, snowed twice this week.
Yeah, -2 right now. Woohoo!
Yeah, it's not that cold here, but it's it was like this morning. It was like in the teens. So we have plenty of ice out there on the pavement.
I had to start the snowblower up. That was nuts.
Yeah, I don't have a snowblower. So
you have a shovel. Yeah,
I do. Good old shovel.
When I used to live in the Midwest, all I had was the shovel. All my neighbors had snowblowers. I was like, you fucking assholes.
Every year I go, should I get a snowblower? And then I'm like, it's not going to snow. Watch. And now it does. Like last year it didn't snow.
But okay, so you have to use it like right away, right? Otherwise the snow sticks and compacts, right?
It does. Yeah, you got to be on it quickly. Otherwise, if it starts to compact and it starts to ice up, there's no way you're going to be able to blow it. John, get one over the summertime. That's the move.
Oh,
like,
when it's cheap.
All cheap. Yep. They want those out of store.
Yeah.
Good idea. It's a good idea. Buy your grills in the wintertime. Buy your snowblowers in the summertime.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. Good stuff. Good stuff. We also have Miss Click.
Hi. I'm here.
Good to have Click here. Going back to Halo, apparently. So
yeah, you updated.
Drop in on one of your streams, apparently, when you're playing Halo.
We're gonna duo up. That's what's gonna happen.
Okay. MVG's been talking about Halo here and there too. He's like, do Halo.
I'm ready to play again.
Well, you know what I realized is no one told me that they took away PC only queues. You have to crossplay now for rank.
Oh,
now you force you into it.
The crappy part is you're playing against controllers,
console player.
But the good news is you're actually getting into matches. So hopefully you'll be able to get Onyx. Yeah.
Okay. You need the console players now. I see how it is.
You know, I need you when you melee. I need you to dash.
Can you plug the controller into the PC and you get that kind of like that extra auto aim and stuff? Don't you get that?
What am I, scum? You think I'm gonna plug up a controller?
Well, what if you plug in the keyboard and mouse to that thing that makes it think you're using a controller, and then you just run over everyone?
Didn't Microsoft say they figured it out and figured out a way to prevent you from doing it? I think there's some new cheat
system they're putting into Halo Infinite. Yeah, they kind of need to. That'd be ridiculous.
Yeah, it like looks up how you're moving and realizes you're not actually using a controller and just stops that.
That's Evan there. Evan's with us tonight.
Yep.
And there is a game that's out now that I put the title that is. I played it, and it's kind of an Evan game, and I'm curious. Evan, hold us in suspense if you've played it or not.
I've looked into it, but it's not really a game for me.
I told you, Evan. I told you.
Dude, it feels like an Evan game.
It's not.
Okay.
It looks cool, but like I'm not really feeling it right now. Because it's mostly a survival game, and like I need those in small doses. Like after spending 200 hours in Valheim in a month, like.
Is that what we're defining as an Evan game? Is survival?
The survival, Valheim. What else did you play? Did you play Rust, Evan? Did you play anything like that?
No,
really?
I spent the last 2 weeks cracking double digits and freaking kills in a lot of the games I've been playing. I need to play something competitive.
Did you ever play Ark, Evan?
For a little bit, but that was back when it was not great for performance. So
yeah,
they showed you all those trailers where it was like, look how amazing it is, and you get in, it's 2 frames a second.
Yep.
I don't want to do this.
Yeah. Okay.
When it like first came out. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so tonight we have that developer direct to go over, which does include Indiana Jones. And we'll say differing opinions online around how that turned out, but I think I think there's some fun stuff to talk about just overall with that developer direct. We have the Palworld stuff, as that has absolutely taken over. By the way, they just announced as we were going on air, they've sold 3 million copies in the first 40 hours now of that game.
Ooh.
What?
Yeah, despite it even being on Game Pass and everything, that and PC has been enough so far to get them to 3 million copies sold, and their concurrent player count on Steam was approaching 1 million today.
Rip Pokemon. Pokemon.
We got the Pokemon replacement, everyone. We did it.
It's getting kind of ridiculous with this game right now. So, but there is some stuff that's popped up around that and AI actually. So this might be interesting for even Nintendo to get involved, believe it or not. And we had the stuff with GDC that came up, mostly the surveys, and I'm curious because MVG is much more familiar with just GDC in general and what it is, as that's the first thing that comes up when those surveys get brought up. What's GDC? So I feel like MVG can at least explain to us what GDC is, and then we can take a look at the survey as people were talking about even Nintendo's next gen device and if they'd like to develop for it. So I do want to start today with some of the shout outs to the patron members, the executive producers. We have Achievement, Jono, Joshua Butts, Mr. Joby, William Hogue, and Trent A. I want to throw in there as a producer. And then we have our sponsor for tonight is the Game Orb. The Game Orb, of course, has been sponsoring the Spawncast for quite a while now, several months, and you can check them out over on their channel on YouTube and Twitch. I'll have a link down below where they do all kinds of gameplay streams, videos, as well as tours at different conventions and events, including Nintendo Live. So make sure you check them out. We'll have a link down below. So let's quickly start with, I had brought this up to Sean, and I was hoping OJ would be here by now because he actually played Palworld as well. Sean attempted to play Palworld. He has a very different opinion from most people on this game. So maybe that's why he's not here right now, because he'll get in trouble. But Palworld came out on, well, they did it's early access technically right now, so it's not officially released. It's early access on Game Pass, so if you have Game Pass, you can just download it, or if you go on Steam, I think it's $30, I believe, to buy it. And no word, I guess, on when the full release is going to happen, but it was originally described, and what I went into it thinking was Pokemon with guns, but it is technically a cross between Pokemon, Ark, Zelda, and
John, tell me,
yes.
what is the gameplay loop? What do you do in this game? Tell me what you do in this game.
I've heard it's a lot of grinding. Okay.
So the first thing you do is you wake up on a shore, right? So the story is you've woken up on a shore shipwrecked, and you pick up a tablet, and it says the towers are the key, and you look up, there are towers around the island, which is basically Ark, which is really funny. But then you set off, you have a little base that you make, and from there you go out, you capture, they call them pals, basically Pokemon. You capture them, you bring them into your base, and as you go around, you continue to capture them, and then there are areas where there are bosses at these towers that you go to, you defeat them, and then they start to open up more parts of the world. And really the idea is you build up your character, because you level up as your character, you level up as your pals, and you unlock more and more things to then build out. So as I'm going down this tree, there are all kinds of stuff to essentially build out a fortress, get rocket launchers. There's one that I saw where you unlock it, and you can then hand the little Trico looking guy an AK-47, and he'll protect your base for you. And that seems to be the gameplay loop that has taken the internet by storm, MVG, is the constant push to improve your character and your pals. That's basically done it. And there is multiplayer. So on Xbox, it's only up to 4 people, but on PC, you can have up to 32 people in one world with you.
32? I did not know that.
Yeah, so the idea being you can have a ton of different people. It can be somewhat competitive, I guess, because you can fight against each other. They have different factions in the game. There's like a Team Rocket, basically, in there that kind of plays on the evildoer side. But basically, you can walk up to one of these little pals that are roaming the world, take a stick and just beat him over the head with it.
Why wouldn't Sean like it? He could beat
I don't know.
cats and dogs. That's what he talks about all the time.
Wait, do you have to kill them to capture them? Explain how that works.
So you have these things that are basically Pokeball. They're basically Pokeballs, but they don't call them they call them something. I had to look exactly what they call them, something else. And you have like the Great Ball variant of it's something like that. Yes, sphere or something. You have the Great Ball variant of it. You have like the Ultra Ball variant, and you go around, and it's kind of like Pokemon Legends Arceus, where it's all real time. You press a button to throw it, and it will all happen onto the side, and you can just go fight something else while it's trying to catch the pal. And that's the idea, is you do have a little reticule that comes up, you aim, you throw, it hits them, and then a percentage comes up that starts to fill up depending on if you get the correct roll. It's like, oh yeah, you had a 50% shot and the coin flipped in your favor, and you now have this pal. Otherwise, though, you can then take your pal, for me with the Xbox's left bumper, and you just throw them out, and they'll attack and do things on their own. So they'll help you build stuff in your base, or they will actually just go around and just start annihilating people, which there are people you fight in the game too.
You can capture the people as well.
Yeah, I got a bow and arrow, a flaming bow and arrow. So I made this thing. It's all fire. And I went up to this encampment and I wasn't sure if they were good or bad. So I just started shooting arrows at them and it killed the person. And the police came after me. I had a wanted level. I'm running away from the police the whole time. And I had to teleport back to my base to lose them. But there apparently is some kind of like wanted system in it. And a lot of stuff is jammed into this game that I do wonder if they try to do too much at once, because parts of it do feel kind of shallow to a degree. Like that wanted system, it was like wanted level 1. And even when I was attacking some of the police, it never went up. It was just stayed like that. So I feel like it should have gone up more.
Do you think this game, are we going to still talk about this game in a couple of weeks, John? Or do you think this is going to be a situation where it's really, really popular right now, but it's just going to fizzle out quickly?
Well, what's coming out in a couple of weeks?
I don't know. Like, well, I didn't say that because
no, I know. Well, I know. I feel like something's going to have to kick it off the podium, right? Like that's usually how it is. The flashbang.
I don't think we really know. Is there an end game? Really?
That's what I'm getting at. Like, because you know,
is there a goal to the game?
Gamers are psychos. They'll grind through a game so fast and get to the end game content way faster than what the developer was anticipating. So, do you think it's going to be enough to sustain this game going on for more than a few weeks? Is I guess what I'm asking.
32 people on PC with Rust-like elements. I mean, they could probably lean into the live stream RP content creation community and see if they could build off on that.
Because technically when you make a new world, you make a new character as well. So like if we were all like, let's get in this world and we would start from the beginning, all of us together, and kind of build up from there. And I believe you can then invite other people in. And I kind of see the idea of, it's kind of like Minecraft where I guess you do that as well. You can be like, hey, let's get together, let's make our own world and let's build it up. And I think the level cap is, I'm going to say it's 50 because the talent tree goes to 50. So you have the talent tree for technology, the things you can build, and then you have a stat system for your character that does like attack, health, weight, because you can be over encumbered, which I'm annoyed at everything.
Nice.
With that. And they still have those survival elements in the game, but it's like your character gets hungry, but it's not like I don't have to go cook food. I just have like a million berries.
Can
like,
you die from hunger?
I believe your health lowers as when your meters, it takes a long time for your meter to go down, and it takes me like 5 seconds to kick it back up because I have like 100 berries, and you just mash A couple times and it fills you up completely. So
but they're also in closed servers too, right? So you're not playing with random people. You have to like join a specific server.
Yeah, I think you can close it, or I feel like you could leave it. I don't know how that works because I haven't tried any of that. I just mostly like been messing around in the world that I built there. But I feel like I could see where you would have people maybe just join in if that's the case. Like if they add matchmaking, this is all early access. So I feel like it's going to be that situation of this could be a 10-year project for them and they'll just build on it forever. Because at this point it's taken off probably more than I have to imagine more than they thought it would. Like this just kind of came on people's radar a week or two ago, I feel like.
No, remember we what direct was it?
There was a director or an award show or something.
We were joking about it, like, the Pokemon with Guns trailer. I remember because it was when I was still here regularly.
Was it a Game Award or no? It was before that. Even.
It was a lot. It was like I feel like a year and a half ago.
One of the million Summer Games Fest things that happened.
Something like that. Yeah, because I remember we were joking about it and seeing like, we'll see how it progresses. I think for me, I'm just most cautious about diving into games right away for me personally, because Evan, you even think about freaking New World. Yeah. That was promoted over and over and over by Amazon. It was huge on launch.
They're still doing it. They're still trying so hard.
They're hanging in there. Yeah, the 3 devs that are working on it. But like MVG said, people are like, not in a bad way, but they're dedicated to where they finish the content so fast.
I had full fishing in that game in like 2 weeks.
I know, but it's like once you reach the end game, you're like, okay, now what? Like the 2 weeks of memories were fun, but then what? So you have to, for me, it's like, am I gonna get my money's worth out of 2 weeks? Like that's kind of how I'm gauging games like this nowadays.
My barrier of entry is very low because I already have Game Pass, and it was like, here it is.
Okay, so that makes more sense.
You know, and the game's like 9 or 10 gigabytes or something, I think, on the Xbox. So it didn't take long either to download. It was just like, all right, you're good.
So do you feel like because of Game Pass, your expectations of games quality lowers a little bit? Like, I have Game Pass, so it doesn't matter. Like, do you feel like devs aren't held up to as high of a standard then? If that's the case, because I've been curious about that. Yeah.
I feel like in this case they're pretty upfront. Like when you download it, the icon says early access, big banner at the bottom. So I feel like they're pretty upfront about the early access stuff. But I get what you're saying when it comes to if the game isn't what I wanted it to be, that I can just kind of move on and be like, that's fine, because it was, it's part of the service I already have.
Here's the question: are you now going to jump on the Steam version that has 32 players because you want to get the full taste of it?
Yeah.
Well,
are you going to jump on that?
Xbox Game Pass on PC, right?
Yeah.
I can just move right over there on the log out.
Will it transfer?
I feel like I wonder if my
wouldn't your server be built for only 8? Because what if you wanted to go back on Xbox and play?
I'll have to see how that works. You know what? I will try that with Raw Gal. I just see how that works. But I get what you're saying, MG, with the PC, because I hear that if I was going to do a multiplayer one, I would probably go to PC and start it there. I feel like the Xbox.
We should
do you and your 31 friends.
We should do an episode from Palworld. We should build a campfire.
Episode.
Oh, yeah. No, I ain't playing that shitty game.
MVG's in.
MVG, what if I told you?
Only if you can capture RGT within the first day and then butcher him.
Yeah, that would be such a good episode.
I'll tell
MVG
you
what. Captures Sean in the huddle.
If this has Arc elements, because I didn't play Arc right away, I got introduced later on from friends, and I remember they captured a few people, and they're like, "Okay, fill their pockets with stones," and I'm like, "Why?" And they're like, "Don't ask, just do it." Like, we're gonna put them in this cage, fill them with stones to where they're over encumbered. I'm like, okay. And they're like, all right, now every hour, you're only gonna feed them one piece of food, so they're barely alive. I'm like, okay, well, what are the rocks for? And they're like, okay, well, the rocks are so they can't move, so they can't break out of the cage. So I'm like, so we're holding prisoners? And they're like, yeah, no, that's essentially it. We're just gonna keep these people alive until they, delete their account and make a new one. I'm like, man, oh my god, this is brutal. Wow. This is insane. So I would say if Palworld has that eventually, I could see some motivation.
You do pick stuff up automatically if so at your base you can have the pals basically just work on stuff. Like they'll just work at your base and gather resources and supplies and stuff for you. So essentially you can set up your base as you go along, because you can give them like recreational event, like you give them a nice hot tub, all this stuff, and they'll basically tend to themselves. Like they have like their little cafeteria feed box looking area, and they'll be self-sustaining and just gather wood, stone,
that sounds
any
like
of the stuff you need.
I've always kind of wanted that from Pokemon, to be honest.
And
outside of the ranch kind of setting,
it does kind of feel like ideas that people have thrown around for Pokemon, and they just heard it or saw it online.
Finally
like,
did something
let's
about
just throw it in there, because it doesn't feel as like complex or built out as they probably could, which maybe that's why I'm coming around on it and more interested, because it doesn't have menu to menu to menu to menu, and it's like all these numbers and it's a bit more shallow, so you kind of jump in and jump out pretty easily from it. But I do see why people look at this and go, I wonder if Nintendo will try that, or the Pokemon company will try that someday, or because it has those elements where it's so obvious that they're looking at, and you can climb up and down walls like Zelda. You have a hang glider like Zelda, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. You have all that stuff. So a lot of inspiration in this game from other games around it, I will say that. But it seems to be working. You sell 3 million copies in 40 hours. That's kind of impressive.
How's the combat?
It's all real-time action RPG, and it doesn't feel like there's much impact to anything. You just take a bat and just swing in place and just club this little Pokemon over the head over and over and over again. So
the last question I have about this is this actually a Pokemon ripoff? Is the Pokemon company going to go after this company?
That's a good question, MVG, because we have some news that's come out. I think it was earlier today. I saw VGC was mentioning this on Twitter. They've been accused of using generative AI, or that's the belief right now. The thing is, no one has necessarily like one-to-one proof. It's like, oh, they were the person who was at the head of the studio. I've never heard of this studio before that made it. They just kind of came out of nowhere. I think it was like Pixel. Let me make sure. Pocket Pair. Never heard of them before. This is all built in Unreal Engine, but essentially what's going on is people are comparing it to Pokemon, like the eyes, the teeth, and that sort of thing, and even the mannerisms and kind of look of them. Like, okay, this is a cat in Pokemon, and it's a cat in Palworld, and people are thinking that they had generative AI across the board to make this to where it's not quite copyright infringement. Like it using AI to do it so many times to where it just skirts that line. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. I think in the next 10 years, a lot of games are going to end up using AI in some regard, and they're just not going to tell you. They just won't tell you. And you'll find out years later after you've beaten it, talked about how happy you were with the game and stuff. And then you'll hear about how their tool set is integrated with some sort of AI, something like that, those kinds of things. And I think this is another instance of kind of that. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if we found out. Here's the question, though. MVG is right. Does Nintendo, like, we know what happens with Nintendo and the Pokemon Company. They don't mess around. If these things are that close, do they attempt to make an example in court out of this? Because I'm not sure how that works with copyright and this sort of thing.
If it's generative AI, they might be waiting for things, because there are a lot of cases right now of companies trying to figure out whether or not AI should be used in this way, since you can't technically copyright AI created works. Like, it's not made by a person. So, like, maybe they're waiting to see how those things go before stepping in, but maybe they'll might. It is kind of a weird thing,
Evan, isn't it? Because if you have an algorithm that you don't necessarily own because it's open, make it, then who do you come and sue at that point? The person who told the machine to make it? It's weird.
You kind of sue the company that made the algorithm. I mean, that's how it is, or the program rather, because that's kind of been one of the examples people have been giving, like, oh, we made the program and it learned from the internet and therefore we can't be sued. It's like, no, that's bullshit. It's still your program.
I think it's a situation where if this game continues to get buzz and it continues to sell, like, let's say by the end of next week, we're at 10 million, or something like that, and it starts to get the attention of Nintendo, then they probably will start to take a look at it. I'm not saying they're going to do anything, but they'll probably take a look at it at least and see if there's anything going on that they feel like would be their intellectual property at risk or something. But we'll have to see.
I'm on their website right now, and like all of their games are just blatantly like not one-for-one ripoffs, but you can tell like absolutely what game they're based off of, with new elements added into it. Like Craftopia is like, I'm looking at the trailer, it's the exact same thing as Breath of the Wild. This freaking Nevergrave game looks exactly like Hollow Knight. They have a AI art imposter, which is flat out Among Us. And then Palworld, which is literally, for me, I'm watching some Twitch streams too right now. It looks a lot like Ark mixed with like Legends Arceus kind of thing. So I don't know. I feel like in a way, like this group, I mean, it's cool that people are creating things, but also at the same time, it's like, I mean, you can tell you were basing your work off of someone else's homework kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, I'm looking at this dude, and if I don't know, some of these look like actual Pokemon. It's insane.
Yeah, I mean, Temtem sort of skirted that line too, but I feel like it didn't like Temtem didn't have this kind of explosion out of the gate, did it, Evan? I don't remember it being like this.
I thought they were very forward with their art group as well, the people who are actually making the stuff, and their methods and plans being kind of close to how Pokemon works with simple shapes, but still trying to produce things. But if an AI learned from almost all the Pokemon art so far and is now putting this out, that's where it gets a little weird.
Yeah, it's new territory for everyone. That's the problem. It's like, how do we? It's AI regulated. We knew it was going to be approached at some point, and it might be Nintendo and the Pokemon Company, which Pokemon's the most valuable intellectual property in the world. So it would kind of make sense that they would be the ones dealing with it.
Well, what if I guess when it's a matter of time, right? You guys said when things are made with AI and they don't disclose it, would there be any way to find out if it was generated?
I already know on Steam they've either added or they're adding some new terms and conditions that basically says that if your game has any type of AI, you have to disclose it within your game.
But that's an honor system, right? That's assuming that they do it. Would there be any way, like any trail?
I don't think so. I mean, I think it's really more a case of, like right now humans can tell either if audio is AI generated or visuals. So I think really it's just, an expert basically making a determination at that point. But see, the thing about AI is I think as time goes on, it's going to get better.
Yeah.
So, those lines may start to blur over time. But right now it's pretty easy to spot like AI. You just look at the hands, look at the teeth.
Well, it's almost like elementary, it's learning and it has to evolve kind of thing.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I mean, Evan, you can probably answer this better than I can. I mean, what do you think? I mean, you're probably someone that can pick out AI pretty easily, I would imagine.
You can pick it up because it does kind of tell some things. I've seen things as well with AI over time since it pulls from art websites where the artists have been like, nah, screw this. And then they start doing things with their art that messes with the AI, so you can kind of tell what's going on. Like they Behance or someone did this thing where all of them put like no AI crossouts over all their artwork, and then all the AI art coming out on that website had that same thing, but it wasn't about like the no AI crossout. It was just art with this weird red shape, and it was like, yep, there it is. But down the road, I don't know. I think it'd be more like an audit system where a game comes out that has ridiculous visual backing to it, and it was produced in 2 years by 3 people, and you're like, I don't know if you did all that in that amount of time.
It's the thing that I'm looking at Microsoft, and they're talking heavily about AI, and that's definitely getting integrated into their games. So I don't we're talking about AI on Steam being disclosed MVG. I mean, I feel like a lot of Microsoft stuff based on the way the whole company is moving, where they became more valuable than Apple the other day because seemingly of AI and the big drive for that. I mean, all their stuff's probably going to use some sort of tool set that has AI integrated. So
what's their search engine? Is it Bing?
Bing.
What? Bing, right?
Bing, and then they have an AI component to it.
I was gonna say I went to Google something on my computer the other day, and I guess my computer updated because my Chrome didn't come up. It was their AI thing. And I'm like, oh my God, what is this? And I had no idea that they integrated. It was just like that. Like,
yep.
They didn't even say anything. There was no like, do you want this? It was just already there. I was like, I
don't use that Bing AI thing. I guess I don't really know how to work AI properly, because I'll ask it to do something for me, and it just like
it'll Google it for you.
Links me to just links me a Wikipedia page. It's like, I could have fucking done this myself.
Yeah, Google does that passively. It just Googled it for you.
I feel like that is a whole thing on its own, is figuring out how to structure sentences and questions for AI to give you the best information possible. But that's a whole position on its own. But we'll see. I don't know. I'm curious if we hear news about Nintendo poking around with this. So
I figured they would have after already seeing a trailer. Do you think they're waiting for this early access to come out to do something?
They probably will take a look. They're sore winners. Like, they don't want anyone messing with Pokemon.
That's true.
But there's no Palworld card game, so I don't think they really care as much. But it's probably
that's true.
Just wait, the real end game turns.
I'm hoping Nintendo will look at this and say, we can do better. We can do better than Scarlet and Violet. Let's look at this. Look what the
AI in here, damn it.
Yeah. Hey, I think that would be the win. That would certainly be the win-win for everyone, right? People get to enjoy Palworld, it doesn't get shut down, and then Nintendo and Game Freak be like, maybe we shouldn't churn out yearly subpar mid games.
Absolutely.
How many copies did PUBG sell when it was like at its top? How many copies?
It was
has it sold
millions
so far?
right off the bat.
It was ridiculous.
PUBG sales.
Well, because people are talking about this overtaking Pokemon as an example. It gets thrown around. It's not going to overtake it's not going to overtake it for intellectual property value or nothing like there's no Palworld card game or merchandise. I wouldn't be shocked though if it kept like PUBG has sold like an obscene amount, right?
I think it went free to play
for the longest time.
But in a report in October 2023, 75 million.
Yeah, so let's say this game, it goes absolutely ridiculous, 40 million copies. Technically, it would have sold more than Pokemon.
But that was PUBG introduced the battle royale genre. Now I know people are going to be like, there were other games that did battle royale before PUBG. Yes, but it brought it to a wide audience. Yeah. This is a blatant Pokemon game with guns and Legend of Zelda hang gliders and stuff. This is not anything new and interesting. I think it's a little unfair to compare it to PUBG when that came out, because that thing, when PUBG came out, even I was playing that PUBG because I was like, I got to play this game.
The big one was the H1Z1.
Yeah,
H1Z1.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, Player Unknown, I think he was one of the devs on the H1Z1 thing, and then he left to make PUBG.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just curious now where this train ends when it comes to the sales, because it's already at 3 million.
I mean, 75 million. I mean, maybe, but
it still has to go to you. Figure it's going to PlayStation at some point, right? You think it goes to Nintendo system? It only needs a 1050 to play it, apparently. So I bet you they can get it on there.
What if they drop a battle royale for Palworld? Like just the blend.
It's over.
What if
it's over?
What if it's a Switch 2 launch game?
It's over. Well, we'll see how that continues on. Let me go to let's take a look at the Xbox Developer Direct. This ran for about 50 minutes, and they showed 5 games. One was a surprise, but the other 4 were there as expected. And let me start with, so the studios that were there: Obsidian, Ninja Theory, Square Enix, Oxide Games, and Machine Games. The one they started with was Obsidian with Avowed. That is coming fall 2024 for Xbox and PC, of course, launching into Game Pass. And this, to me, looks very similar to a Skyrim, minus when they started showing off all the magic, dual-wielding wands, the whole thing. But I mean, I look at this like Obsidian said, we want our own Skyrim.
Well, it's weird. You would have thought that was the Bethesda game and not indie.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're right. That looked like a Bethesda game, but I mean they're basically neighbors within Microsoft at this point. So
sure.
It's like, okay, go and make your own Skyrim. I mean, I like what I saw with some of the combat, but other parts of the combat looked a little light. I don't know. It's hitting.
I did not like the melee.
Yeah, hitting some of the enemies with like the bigger weapons didn't feel like they were hitting them with the weapons. It
felt like the exact same animation as like a freaking hatchet or something. It was just left, right, left, right.
The magic looked cool though. Like that. Okay, when they were throwing magic, I was like, all right, that's probably what they started with, and they were like, oh, we should probably give them melee as well. But they also had a gun. Shot it with that surprised some people because it's in the Pillars of Eternity, I believe, that kind of lore. So when they broke the gun out, that seemed to surprise people. But it's coming fall 2024. So this is a theme, by the way, throughout this entire show. A lot of the stuff coming up this year. But what'd you think, MVG, about Avowed?
I liked it. I think it showed better than what I thought maybe it would have. I did have some questions around the combat in the game. I felt like it was a little flat as far as, I mean, there was some really cool wand effects and stuff like that, but it didn't really give you that satisfaction when you beat down an enemy where, I don't know, maybe the physics weren't wired up properly or something, but it just looked a little flat to me, the combat system in the game, John. But other than that, I think the game looks really good. I will say that I think fall 2024 is a safe date to put on it. Potentially, I feel like it may slip a little bit because I think that they have to do more work on it. There's a little bit more work and polish that needs to be done with this game, I feel like. It showed well, but I felt like it could have been a better presentation overall. But overall, I like it. It's on Game Pass, so I'm definitely going to check it out.
Yeah, that does make it a little easier, doesn't it? It's on Game Pass, so I'll give it a download.
It also
you won't download Palworld, though.
It also had the character talking, though, right? Like the weird fish-looking guy.
Yeah.
Did anybody else think his facial expressions, like he looked super stale, or was that just me?
It looked a bit stiff. Yeah,
it gave me like
it looked Bethesda Starfield-ish to me, and I'm okay with that. I'm kind of used to that type of thing. But yeah, I mean, it did look a little weird to me as well.
Is it a beloved brand identity, or is it something like,
set in the D&D universe? Where was Avowed set? I remember they said it was something specific because you are technically from a group of people in an already established universe that are normally disliked, but have incredible power. Story.
But I liked it, John, overall. What did you think? Did you like the game? What was your thoughts?
For Avowed?
Yeah.
Yeah, it did give off those Skyrim vibes. It kind of felt a little been there, done that until they started showing off some of the magic with the dual wielding and the wands and apparently you can change loadouts on the fly. So that's fine. The environments look good, but it just felt like I had been there before. But
it's from their Pillars of Eternity universe.
Well, I mean, I didn't really play that, but it still looked very similar to just it just felt Skyrim-y. I don't know. It's just very, very familiar. But I guess for Pillars of Eternity, then, like fans of that, they're probably loving what they're seeing with Avowed. So you played Pillars of Eternity, Evan?
No, but I have a buddy that's huge into that. He loves that.
Yeah, he probably really likes what he saw with Avowed then, if that's the case. Kind of going from the isometric down to like ground level and looking around. We had Hellblade 2 next, and we got our release date finally, May 21st. So it is first half of this year as expected, and we've been seeing this game since the Xbox. This is the first game that was announced next to the Xbox Series X back then during the Game Awards. So it's been a while, but finally we are 4 months away from this game coming out. Xbox PC Game Pass. Slight issue though. This was a weird one. Digital only. There's no physical release for this game. It's $50, so it's not a full price game. And it's about the similar length as the first one, which people are like, okay, it's a 7 or 8 hour game. It seems to be it. No one's really pushing back on that from like the developers or publishers or anything. So it's a little shorter, it seems, than people were expecting. But I will say we've had this conversation many times. If a game is 7 or 8 hours, there's no point in going, let's put another 7 hours of fluff in just to hit a number. It's got to be 15. If it's good, the content of those 7 8 hours.
Jonathan, when was the Xbox Series X announced? What year was it? 2019.
Man. It was 2019. The Game Awards.
So I think people's issues with Hellblade 2 is that this game has been in development for many, many years. 2019, as you said.
Well, there's like a even longer gap than that between the 7 years from the first one and now even.
There you go. So I think people are just questioning, why is the game on the shorter side when it's literally been in development for, such a long time? Is really the question, I feel like.
It didn't have the powerful AI like Palworld.
Well, the first one... The first one was it. This one's not, because now they're owned by Microsoft, and they've been owned by Microsoft. They've been funding this pretty well.
A lot more money, a lot more resources, a bigger team is on board now at Ninja Theory. So I think really people are just questioning, well, why is it still the same length as the first game? We know why the first game was small, because it was a small, AA game with a small budget and 1/5 of the resources working on the game. Now you've got Microsoft money. You've got a big team.
Crunch?
And people, let's say no crunch, right? People are questioning, well, why is this still a 7 or 8 hour experience? This should be a AAA, 15-hour campaign at least, like Spider-Man 2 or something like that. I think that's the question.
Do you think this is the case of we can focus in heavily on every little minute detail of this game to make it look as good as possible, sound as good as possible, all the environments are built out and look crazy?
It's a lot of mocap.
Like that. Do you think they just got a little too in the weeds with every single detail that, let's face it, many people are just going to kind of run past? Do you think they said, okay, we can make it 15 hours and skip out on this, this, and this, or we can shorten it and make every little thing, like down to the strands of hair, down to everything that's on that table there? You think that's possible? Like that
is it cross-gen, or is it only?
It's only Xbox Series.
It's only Xbox.
Yeah. So what if that was the case? Also, we've had the privilege and unfortunate news of like Metroid, for example, being scrapped and redone. Certain TV show series people have been waiting for scrapped and redone. Is it possible, and maybe MVG, this is like a dev question, could they just decide like, oh, like this isn't good, we're going to scrap this whole portion and change the trajectory?
They kind of did that, right? Because they went from Unreal Engine 4 and they announced they were moving to UE5. And I can tell you that's not a copy-paste, run a wizard script to upgrade everything. That's basically a rewrite of your game at that point.
Well, that's what they're saying for Smite 2. It was going from Unreal Engine 3 to 5, and they're not going to be able to transfer everything.
Yep.
Okay.
So I think honestly, it's probably, they started working on the game, they had good ideas, they were in development, and for whatever reason, they decided to change engines. They engine swapped the game midway through development. So that's probably why the game isn't I guess as big as what people are expecting. I'm not saying the length of the game should detract from the quality of the game and the overall, score that it gets. I think people are asking those questions, and I think they have a right to ask those questions. I mean, you announced this game with the launch of a system, and it's been such a long time since, and now you're ready to release it, and it's a little smaller than people are anticipating. It's like, well,
Yeah. I do wonder if this is them going, we're going to do this awesome graphical showcase. It's just going to be half the runtime you expected because we really wanted it to look.
But that's okay.
Like this top tier level. Well, that's all I can think of with this.
If the delivery, if it's like a full out just becomes one of your favorite games, and it is 8 to 9 hours, do you feel like that's going to be okay in your opinion?
Some of my favorite games are shorter in length, like Resident Evil 3 Remake. You can speed run that in the best speed runners can beat it in less than an hour, but I can beat it in 3.5 hours. I mean, The Order 1886 is such a great game on the PlayStation 4. It lasts for 3 to 4 hours, but it's an amazing 3 to 4 hours. So I think if the quality's there, I don't really have any real concern about Hellblade 2. I think it's gonna be good.
So we have to play. I mean, we have to play it first. So hey, when we get there in May and we play it, and we're like, oh, okay, that.
When did they first show the trailer for it?
Wasn't what I was expecting to get. It was right next to the Series X because they showed the trailer, and then they were like, "We're also going to show you this," and it was the.
What year was it?
Was the trailer with Senua kind of
in the
facial expression,
chanting into the camera.
Yeah,
the cave. Yeah.
What year was that?
2019, Game Awards, so it would have been December.
Oh, well,
yep.
COVID too.
So COVID, yeah. I'm sure COVID set him back a little bit, as it seemed to. There's one game right up here that probably would have been out already if it wasn't for COVID.
So when did they announce the change from Unreal Engines? When was that announced?
That's a good question. I feel like it was the year after, but they
decided to change.
Yeah, they announced. I remember they announced that they were engine swapping the game to UE5 because they wanted to.
Can you even do that from home?
Yeah, I mean, I guess. I'll find out. I think it was 2020, maybe.
Okay. So we had one company just kind of show up in the middle of this show out of nowhere, and that was Square Enix. So not a Microsoft-owned studio, nothing like that. Just third party comes in, they show Visions of Mana. It's the first time the Mana series is releasing on the Xbox. I had to kind of stop and think about that for a minute. I was like, I guess so. And that is coming summer 2024. That's not a Game Pass game, but it's on all the different platforms. We probably everyone figures Switch too, but we'll let them talk about that when they're ready. But Xbox, PC, and PlayStation platforms. I mean, the game, we've already seen it. It looks good. I'm on board with this. I like the Mana series. I enjoy Trials of Mana, so I will be picking this one up. It looks like a more colorful, more cel-shaded Dragon Quest XI is kind of what I'm getting from it. So I like it though, and it does make you think about Microsoft's newly rejuvenated partnership or relationship, I should say, with Square Enix. So Final Fantasy on tap, maybe that's the talk now. Final Fantasy 16, even I heard that come up. I think Nate even put that as an image in his podcast, is what he said. So I heard that on Xbox Era, whatever it is. So Final Fantasy 16 maybe coming over at some point. 7 remakes come up as well. All the Square Enix stuff, so bring it all over. But I will say next month, Final Fantasy 14 will make the jump to Xbox. So the Square Enix stuff happening. Square Enix also very on board with AI. So connection there. I don't know. Maybe.
I'm seeing some news reports for the Hellblade thing from 2020. So yeah, it sounds like it's around there.
Okay.
That's a really good point, John. You mentioned AI, Microsoft, and Square Enix. I mean, if you're going to partner with someone with to do AI stuff, Microsoft is the company you want to partner with because they put all that money in, invested all that money into it.
Yeah, you might end up using some of their dev tools even then at that point to make they might be flashing around like, hey, this would make Final Fantasy 17 a lot easier to make if you want to put it on our Xbox or our Windows platforms or whatever it is. So, but I also will say that Square Enix is throwing around every technical term they can with blockchain, AI, and anything that sounds good or technical to investors, they're just saying it. So I at least want to put that out there. They scattershotting all over the place for that. We had Oxide Games with Aura History Untold, and I really wish I cared about strategy games because this quality perspective, it looks good. I will say that. I don't play strategy games, unfortunately.
It's only PC, right?
It is only PC, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And Oxide is not owned by Microsoft, by the way. I double checked that. I'm like, why are they? It's just a private company that I guess they're releasing on PC with Microsoft. And
Evan, is this your type of game?
No, I like the more like StarCrafty ones, not so much the long-term civs.
Gotcha.
Okay. For Civ, it's always build nukes and then that's it. Just go.
Well, apparently they made it so like in this one you could win in a bunch of different ways, I guess.
They always do, but nukes are always the way.
Yeah. There's some simultaneous turn system they also talked about to make turns shorter between, and I tried. I was paying attention as much as I could with it. I really did. It's fall 2024, so the 3 game we just talked about: Avowed, Hellblade 2, Visions of Mana, the Square Enix, but then Aura History Untold, 3 games, 2024. All right, so we're still working here.
No actual window, right, outside of fall.
Right, just fall. Yep, just fall.
So 2024, fall 2024.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
So they're at least leaving a bit of a window there if they need to. But the big closeout was Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Todd Howard talked about pitching this to Lucasfilm and actually being nervous about it. So he's fully invested in this, completely on board behind the scenes, working with it. And they did the big like reveal as they went through for Indy. It is Harrison Ford. They're using his likeness for this, which I think that's obviously a good move, because if you're really going to go for this and you want to have that marketability, yeah, you kind of have to use Harrison Ford for it, as we saw with, I think, Guardians of the Galaxy, or even the Avengers is like the big example where they had no one from that cast for their likeness, and everyone was like, these look like the stunt doubles for the Avengers.
It was also right around one of the, I feel like Avengers had just come out too. Like it was still relevant. You know what I mean? It hadn't. Yeah. There wasn't time to die out. It was just out of touch, in my opinion.
Yeah. So they did get Harrison Ford, which is I think a great move for that. It is first person though, so this is it has third person aspects to it for the camera. It also go to third person when you do traversal, like swinging with your whip or climbing up parts of the world or that sort of thing. But I'd say 80% of the game probably spent in first person, and this didn't go over well online. This was one, there was a lot of fighting over this. But it's 2024, so it is this year. Xbox and PC, of course, in the Game Pass. And the first person thing, I feel like, because obviously Indiana Jones, we know Uncharted and Tomb Raider both pulled inspiration from Indiana Jones, and we think of those games as third person. So we then would go, okay, Indiana Jones makes sense as third person, but it's Machine Games, and they are much more familiar with first person, obviously, with things like Wolfenstein. So in their mind, it's like, yeah, we'll just go third person on this, with first person with third person cuts here and there, depending on what's happening. I like the way the game looks, but what do you guys think about the first person decision? That's the thing that it really caused a lot of conversation. Even Sean himself in his video started by saying this better be third person. They came back 4 hours later and was like, okay, it's first person, but it looks good.
I think it looks. I'm happy with it. I love when companies take risks, John.
Yep.
Like doing first person and having third person cutscenes is perfect. It's exactly how I would have done it.
Resident Evil style. You could have it all first person, then I'd have a problem.
And here's the thing: if we made this game third person, I hate to say it, but it's going to look like Uncharted. It's going to look like Tomb Raider. It's going to look like those exploration style games that we've already seen before. So bringing a first person flavor to this game really makes it stand out and make it unique on its own. So I applaud the decision to make it a first person game. So yeah, good job, Machine Games.
I do hope it pans out, because this game does look like it's a lot of traversal and momentum, which a lot of games try, but not often do they succeed at it. But also puzzles.
In this game? You
Not
interested in this game?
No.
No, we have.
But you're also looking at puzzles in this game, which don't often do well from first person perspective, because the pulled back camera allows you to easily scan rooms. It's actually a thing. So the fact that he's looking around for parts to build devices from first person might mess with people, depending on how they put it together.
But that probably means, in my opinion, if they're doing it right. The puzzles aren't going to be too incredibly complex, and it's going to have more of a narrative flow versus it, feeling like a break from pace. I don't know. Personally, for me, and I was telling chat this the other day because I watched all the trailers after the fact, like the next day. Indiana Jones was like a really big name in my house. Both my parents graduated high school when Indiana Jones, Star Wars, Rocky, all of that was super big. So like Indiana Jones was like one of the first, I feel like, recognizable characters for me, even since I was like a toddler kind of thing. So I'm a big Indy fan. I freaking just love him. So for me, it's cool. The first person aspect. For me, I was more disappointed about Avatar being first person, the Avatar game, than Indiana Jones. And I don't know why. I feel like with Indiana Jones, the way they showed it, like the whip, everything felt, no pun intended, but felt snappy. The flick to the gun felt really cool. Shooting from the plane, kind of thing, jumping from wing to wing. You're like, bro, I get to experience being Indiana Jones kind of thing. So for me,
impactful too.
Yes, I think, and for me, I actually watched the trailers out of order than how they were presented in the Xbox showcase, where I watched Indy before I watched Avowed's trailer. So the dichotomy of, for me, Avowed just felt so stale. It didn't feel impactful. And I was really worried. I was telling chat, like, I'm very judgmental about specifically melee combat. Like, I'll probably try the casting, but I'm not going to do melee. But Indy, it was like they even lined up the punches to his theme song. And it would like it was just the editing, the camera shaking, the snappiness, everything felt different. Now, again, it is just a trailer. So is it actually going to run and feel that fun when we're actually like in the loop of it, like playing? That's obviously yet to be determined. But even just in the way that they marketed it, it felt a lot more fun. So for me, I was just worried in general for Indiana Jones to be done right. But like even with the cutscenes, like the smirk they had for him, like I don't know who's doing the voice for Indy, but felt incredibly.
Yeah, they named him, I think.
Troy Baker.
It's Troy Baker, yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow, I could not tell. Oh my god, I feel like him and Matthew Mercer are just like they just do so many different voices. Well, kudos to him, because in my opinion, I was like, I gotta hear the voice, I gotta hear it. And he did like the scoff right, felt very indie. So I don't know, I am excited. I think, again, first person shouldn't matter if it delivers to the experience. If everything is tailored well around it, that's what should matter. And we shouldn't just be like, oh, well, it doesn't look like every other game that I like. You complain if it does look like every other game you like. So make up your mind. And exactly what MVG said. Do you want people to try new things? Sure. Hopefully they don't fail, because Indiana Jones is like a legend to me.
No, this will be good. I think Machine Games, they do great work. This will be this will be a good game.
Yay.
I'm confident.
Seems like they have a really good game to market then, because this is also just as 2024. Make sure 2024.
Quote unquote. So, I feel like this is gonna get delayed. Is it just me? I feel like it's gonna get delayed.
No, Nate brought this up too. He thought it might get delayed. Just he's looking at the lineup and was like, that. Yeah, well, this one might be the one that would be we
have 5 games right coming to Xbox in 2024. There is.
Yep. So it's a holiday?
History will tell us, and the statistics will tell us there's going to be at least one game that doesn't make it this year.
Yeah.
I personally think Indy is going to make it. I think Indy's probably further along than what we think. I think if there's one game, and I mentioned it, I was kind of saying it earlier, I think Avowed may get bumped just for more polish. I could see that.
Wouldn't be the worst thing.
I think, I think Indy makes sense to be there for the holidays, because that is the mascot you put next to the Xbox on store shelves, or even just banners or commercials, or because Call of Duty's coming out this year. So you got to position these things around Call of Duty. Microsoft owns that now. So that's something they have to account for. And it's a big seller every year. Oh, look, Sean's here.
Yes, I am.
Hold on.
Did your team win?
I was trying to judge by Sean's
team. They won by 26.
Oh,
okay,
wow.
So we get happy Sean right now. Nice. It's hard to tell sometimes.
Wow.
I'm always miserable, but yeah.
Oh.
It's a good game. It was a good game.
I'll send you some tequila or something.
Jeez. All right, good stuff. So we were working through the Xbox developer. We just got to Indiana Jones. I figure that's the one you would have wanted to comment on anyway. What'd you think of how it looked, Sean?
Initially
Oh, well, good. Wow. That's that. Thanks for coming, Sean.
Stuff.
Josie Internet, am I right?
Big
he's coming back.
I'm back. I don't know. I was opening up Photoshop and it just
That was perfect timing.
This guy
too.
out here just trying to bleed his memory on his computer.
I got to make a thumbnail for tomorrow. What was I saying? Oh no, I was initially kind of like when it wasn't third person.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason I was like that was because I was under the impression, because I mean, Uncharted, Tomb Raider, like they're all, stylized in like an Indiana Jones style of game. So I thought there was going to be a lot of platforming. And since it doesn't seem like there's a lot of platforming in the game, I think it's going to be awesome. I'm pleasantly surprised with Xbox's 2024 games.
Okay. So you're
but Hum Drug Dog is not. He says, I don't care, not playing these games. Phil is a snake. RGT video is trash. Xbox lied to us. Xbox isn't back if they port some of these games going to PC.
But the Xbox games are going to be on PC.
Brother.
Thanks for the 5.
Go outside, brother.
$4.99.
But they can buy them on PC. Oh, okay. That's fine. You know what I did notice? I didn't realize this until I guess Indiana Jones was shown as first person. Apparently, first person motion sickness is like really prevalent on social media. I didn't realize this.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, remember that game Mirror's Edge?
Mirror's Edge caused it a lot. The first Stalker game had a weird pixel to pixel blur effect that they had to turn off because their testers were getting sick. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's real. I've experienced. I've never been like, violently ill or anything like that, but I've experienced motion sickness before playing like some first person games in the past. But
we would need OJ in here. OJ says he gets 6 playing first person.
Oh.
But it's not really anything that, I mean, usually it's my buddy just telling me, just get up and take a walk, you idiot. You need to move around. So,
well, I feel like usually with first person, because it also happens in first person shooters too, is oftentimes you can go into settings and turn off camera shake. You can turn off recoil.
Yeah. Motion blur is a big one.
Motion blurring, like all that different kind of stuff. So hopefully they'll have adjustments for that.
So the one game that really made me not feel good was Mirror's Edge, because remember how you would like, you would jump and then you would slide and you do all these like
hit the ramp.
It was all about momentum. So most of the time your character's like doing the bottom.
And I remember they actually added a patch where you could turn on this like green crosshair, like these three green kind of dots on the screen. And it would basically tell your brain this isn't real,
Yeah.
And it actually worked really well. So, knowing Bethesda and this Indiana Jones game, there's going to be a ton of accessibility stuff in this game. So I'm sure they'll have something like that in there.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like if you put a crosshair on the screen, that would help you a lot in terms of first person motion sickness. But I mean, if that's the case, I stay away from VR.
I was gonna say, how about like 3D/VR experiences? Does that also get you?
VR ones, I've actually been able to like get myself to experience motion sickness in VR from if you pick a game that has smooth moving. So like you press the
thing
stick
where it kind of goes behind you,
and then you also have smooth camera move, and then you sit down when you play it. That will get, I'd say 90% of people motion sick. It's crazy what that can actually do to you.
Anytime the video moving follows where you're looking, it's vertigo.
Depends on the game.
Gran Turismo VR was definitely one of those things where it kind of fucks you up, especially if you have a wheel.
The one that messed me up the worst was Drive Club VR on the PS4. That really, that was rough. But like, I played through Half-Life Alyx in VR with just the regular FPS controls. And there were some moments where, again, I just had to take a break, but like, it was fine. I think I think the first person thing, they'll add some accessibility stuff in it, I'm sure. But I also see that, first person isn't for everyone. But I don't know. Like I said, I'm very happy that it is.
Do we think that this is, as we finish up with the Xbox developer, I think this is the start for Microsoft's big like 1 game per quarter push now? Like it seems like they have a lot of stuff announced. Is this the move now? This the moment?
1 big one per quarter?
Yeah, that's been their goal. Every quarter have a big game releasing.
Well, I mean, this year they're not going to have that, right? Because the first game is Hellblade, and that's going to be in Q2. So there's no Q1 game. And then we still don't know the date for Avowed and Indiana Jones. We expect Indiana Jones is probably going to be like, I don't know, an October game maybe or something like that for the holiday.
I would think holiday.
Yeah. So maybe next year, John, is the start of the one game per quarter thing. Okay. But I mean, they also have Call of Duty and stuff if you want to count all that stuff, I guess. Yeah.
Yep. Call of Duty would be out this holiday. Indie would be maybe they can get Indie out in like September or something, just to kind of avoid that October-November split where Call of Duty.
But don't you think that's when Avowed is going to be?
That's what we were talking about. We figured one of these games might get pushed just because it's even too crowded for them. Like,
well, you have
also going to be third-party games dropped in there somewhere too.
Fuck them. You have Avowed as fall, and right. Indiana Jones is 2024. So I would say you do Avowed in September and then Indie in October or November.
Okay. It's gonna be.
I feel like Indie kind of spans a couple generations. You know what I mean? Like, someone showed me the clip of Josie saying he's the guy. I know she knows Indie, but it helps that he's in Fortnite right now. Yeah. So I mean, which is true. I feel like a lot of characters from Nintendo would benefit from being in Fortnite for that same reason. But I don't know. I feel like if you have younger people who might be experiencing Indie for the first time, but I feel like a lot of older people, are going to probably be trying this for the first time. So I don't know. That's just me. I know my mom would, and she doesn't play games, but she loves Indie. So
there it is. That's what they're going for. Get people in maybe aren't even playing games like that, and they see Indiana Jones and check it out. Let me go over to some of the super chats here. Cody Bishop says, "Did you see the Quake 6 Easter egg in the Direct?" Yeah, they had it on the whiteboard. It said Quake 6.
Interesting. Okay. What happened to Quake 5?
Oh, is that Quake Champions or whatever?
No.
Well, Quake 4 was the latest game, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Came out in 2006?
Yeah, on 360.
360. Yep. Oh man, those are the days.
Aiden says, game.
Aiden asks about Josie looks different today. Josie will be back I think next weekend. She had some stuff she had to attend to this weekend. Tijo says, in your mind, MVG, what would the industry look like if every game ever released was preserved at an official level without losing ownership?
What would it look like? Probably less ROM sites, and it would be really awesome because you could go to any online digital store and buy whatever you wanted and always have it there. So it'd be pretty cool, actually. Like if you just say, hey, I want to play some game from 1985 and it's available on a storefront, you just get it. So I think it would be a lot better overall. But that is obviously a situation we will never get to, I don't think.
This is from Gab saying, moving to City on Monday for university, one last live show. Shout out to Gab. Demi Crow asked, Chili's or Applebee's?
Chili's.
Oh, God.
Am I drinking?
It'd be Applebee's if you're drinking, right?
Yeah.
Applebee's.
This guy knows.
What is Applebee's?
They have a happy hour. Deal? They have a happy hour time that's like super cheap.
They got the happy hour, and then they got the 2 for $20.
Oh man,
that's Chili's. Oh, did Applebee's also do their own 2 for $20?
They have like half price appetizers on like certain days, like before 4 o'clock or something. Sean's there. It will be there at like $3.50, putting the order in. Ready to go.
Chili's does their own happy hour, but they also have just way better queso, way better salsa. Like they're freaking the honey chipotle chicken tenders are fire, but then they also got their pasta, their burgers are slamming. Like, come on, Applebee's has got like what, refrigerated raccoon ribs? Oh wait, sorry, I forgot. RGT likes raccoons. My bad.
Wow, all this Applebee's.
I'm gonna have to go.
Did you have a
Chili's.
bad experience at an Applebee's in your life?
Applebee's is like they got decent like tomato soup.
Sean's being economic here too. This is from Blue Knight. Pitch approach ESA and request money that didn't go to E3 for Spawncast Network to host an award show. Developers get to say thank you. John hosts, other members and guest influencers present. RGT85 and Black Keely do a roast. What a future that would be. Yo Peep says, I wish PlayStation Xbox could get the same license for the games, but have their first party develop the game. Like Aladdin back in the day, a Naughty Dog Indiana Jones would be fire.
Yep.
Burley says, did you see the Yakuza Infinite Wealth is charging, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, would be charging $15 for New Game Plus?
Hey, it's one of our topics for tonight.
It is one of the topics, which we can actually, it was brought up here by Burley. So we can talk about that real quick. They are indeed putting the New Game Plus behind an edition that is $15 more. It's like the deluxe edition, which is pretty weird because that's just like something that would be added in an update generally. It's like later on, right? Oh, here's New Game Plus, which we've seen a million times for different. I mean, Spider-Man's going to add New Game Plus soon, through an update. So it's weird that it's a special edition. I don't know what that's about. That's strange. And I don't like that. Like
I'm not playing the games though, so I don't really have much to say.
Oh, thanks.
Well, what if it was in a game that you would play that you had to pay money to unlock a New Game Plus mode?
I'll be real with you. I really don't ever do New Game Plus.
Same.
And I'm the same. Like once I've beaten a game, I've moved on. I'm on to the next thing, right? I think a lot of people are. So maybe that's why they're charging for it. It's like, well, majority of players are just going to move on from this. So the ones that don't, it's basically DLC. You're paying for at that point, really.
Is that like the weirdo tax or something?
I mean, I don't like it. Don't get me wrong. I think it's a terrible practice, and honestly, it may be something they walk back like by next week. But I mean, maybe that's the way they see it. Like most people don't bother with New Game Plus; they just move on. So we're just going to basically it's basically DLC at that point,
Well, okay, so forgive me, I'm out of the loop with this. So it's New Game Plus, like normally that comes with the base game, comes out later on after the fact.
Yeah,
So,
no, I think it's just with the deluxe edition. Like you get it as an unlock with the deluxe edition.
So wait, so it's in the game like
already.
day one, and then you pay to unlock it.
Let me verify that. I just want to make sure I'm not.
If that's the case, then fuck them. That's different.
Yeah,
that's just want to make sure.
That's kind of different.
That's not DLC. That's not like something the developers are
that's
like.
Just a cash grab.
Yeah, that's just like.
It's a macro transaction.
As it stands now, they have a chart, which it's going to get good when they got to release the chart for the different editions, and they have deluxe edition. It just says here, New Game Plus mode is only available at digital deluxe and ultimate editions of Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. It doesn't necessarily specify. Like, is this coming later or is this right away? But I would assume that it's right away because it's part of the digital deluxe in the Master Vacation Pack.
It kind of just sounds like they didn't have anything else to really throw into better editions. So they're like, oh, well, just include that. Like, just say it wouldn't normally be included. So that's dumb to me. I don't know.
It's a shame because the game itself, I mean, for all accounts, for Like a Dragon fans who have really stuck with that series for a long time when it was pretty niche, like holding that game up, and they really figured it out with like Yakuza 0 at the time. Now it's called Like a Dragon, and I don't know, it seems like a weird move to kind of do to that fan base, but I guess as Sean has mentioned, I've mentioned, everyone's mentioned, businesses, it's how
it's not this is not a good look though.
It's not a good look. No, but they have other things in there too. So it's like they have, what is this? Okay, hold on. Explore a bonus dungeon, which is in there. Okay.
Hey, there you go.
Okay, there's like special Sujuman, resort guests, outfits, New Game Plus, and more.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It just sounds like they had nothing else to add to it, so they just said, "I'll just break up part of the game that should already be included. Just break it up and say that they're getting it. Make them pay for it."
That's a shame because, like I said, everything else about it, everyone's real excited. The fans of the series are real excited for this. I feel like it's going to score well, and then it's this weird, like they were right at the finish line, and they just stumbled on something like there.
You know what they should do for DLC if they want to do DLC and they have nothing, nothing to do. Just take all the arcade games from all the previous ones and put it in a DLC where you can play any of them.
That'd be awesome.
Right?
Or you can just build more content, release it later, and then sell it again.
Or you could just not have DLC if the game, it doesn't really need it.
It's looked good the whole way. I
But
mean, I was
money.
gonna check it out when I get some time. But
Well, yeah.
Money.
So, what a shame. What a shame that is. I don't know. Maybe they'll. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe they'll backtrack on it, but the chart is out.
It's trying to drag it out.
Well,
if they printed the chart, it's right here.
If there's a chart, then they're not going to back out.
It's over.
Yeah, the chart's already been made, pal.
Yeah,
the chart's been made.
They already had someone in Photoshop making that.
Yeah,
they paid them already.
Did anyone get The Last of Us Part 2 remaster?
No.
Why? It's out?
It is out. Came out this week.
Okay.
I thought I would ask. I know MVG's a big Last of Us fan. He got part 1 immediately. I thought
did.
he might be. I don't know.
No. You know my thoughts about this one. $10 for an upgrade, fine. No issue. But let's not call this a remaster. This is a director's cut. You know what I'm saying? This is a director's cut. Yeah, there's some new content in the game, but like they haven't remastered anything. This is literally just a director's cut with a little bit more extra added on to the game. That's it. So I think that's the only reason why I'm not interested in this, because it's if I play the PS4 version with the PS5 patch that's free, then basically the visuals are identical.
They were people were doing the comparison shots for it, and it looked the same. I don't know how to tell people. It just really did not look any different. I mean, the Last of Us Part 2 already looks good. That's the thing.
It just came out, I feel like.
Yeah, it's a 3.5-year-old game.
Yeah, and the PS5 version already had patches anyway, so it was already running at 60 frames, and I think it was 1440p. The fact that I saw MVG was like, I didn't get it. I was like, oh, okay. It's a $10 upgrade, and MVG's like, eh.
Well, I know someone who did get it.
Max got it. Dreamcast guy got it.
Yep.
He did? Well, he's probably gonna make a video. He's gonna make a video on it, and he's gonna get tax write-off.
He already made the video on it, and he wasn't that into it.
No. Okay.
He said he liked the new stuff, but he wasn't. It's not a remaster. Like, that's a lie.
Do you have to go through the entirety of the game to get to the new stuff? Because I don't.
No, I don't think so.
I remember reading what it was, but I don't remember what it is.
They have like the survival mode too. It's kind of like a roguelike type game.
That's what it was.
Yeah,
so it's like a separate menu. Okay.
I think so. I don't think you have to beat the game. I don't have it, so I can't categorically say. But I saw Max's review. I don't think you need to.
I just was not very excited for it. I don't know. I just was not really on my radar at all. So I feel like I just liked the first one way more than the second one, but that's me. I don't know. Maybe the time it came out, the kind of some nostalgia there because it was 2013, and just that one I was like, I'll go back through and check it out again. But this, I think I've had my
stumbled into horse Twitter.
Thank you.
Thanks, Max. Sorry, John. It.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're not dragging this one out either, pal. Move on. Come on, this is dead air. Let's go.
I was bringing up the super chats. Jeffrey Tucker says, MVG, have you experienced any cracking on your analog pocket? Reddit has many posts about it.
I don't know why I thought he was going to say your body. Like, are you experiencing cracking in your knees?
There's a lot. Trust me, when you turn 50, there's a lot of cracking going on.
We've talked a lot about lotion, and he's listening to none
my analog pocket. No, but I will also say I'm not a heavy, hardcore user of the analog pocket. Mine sits in my drawer probably for 364 days of the year, and I probably take it out once and play with it. So mine is still okay. But what about you, John? You have an analog pocket, and what is your?
Yeah, it doesn't. There's no cracking or anything I've seen, but usually I keep it up and away on the shelf here. So yeah. I'm not very rough with it or anything in terms of just like it's on the desk laying around or something. But Sean has one. You haven't seen any cracking either. Like the screen, everything's fine on mine.
I haven't touched mine in for fucking ever.
The
only thing I play is that fucking Ambernick. That wood grain, dude, I love that thing so much. The battery on it is fucking amazing. It's by far my favorite handheld.
Oh my god, it just sounds like you guys are talking about a vibrator this entire time.
The MVG was because he just keeps it in his drawer and takes it out once in a while to use it.
Just up on the shelf away from people.
Nah, the Ambernick thing rules.
Great battery life.
It does.
Is that the?
I don't know. It's the wood grain joint.
It's the model. It has like the model number to it, right? The
don't get splinters.
You made me snort.
The casual noob gamer says Palworld, then Persona 3 remake Game Pass starting strong in 2024. Reload 2024. Yeah, Game Pass is starting strong. And Resident Evil 2 remake went to Game Pass as well as PlayStation Plus recently. So subscription services are coming through right now. Justin says, I have nearly 200 games in my Switch library, and I have to say The Lost Crown is one of the best Metroidvanias that I've played in years.
Yes.
I haven't had to try it.
He's been playing.
It's good?
I really like it. I'm 18 hours in. I've done about 78% of the game. I'm trying to 100% the game. I really enjoy it. Check it out.
It is a very good game. Very good. Highly recommended. Highly recommend Prince of Persia.
And I got my physical copy yesterday, right here.
Oh, nice stuff. All in the cartridge, right? It's all there.
I think so.
No blue border. No weirdness. Okay, good. Good.
No, not for this one.
This is from Casual Noob Gamer. Says, if I buy Palworld on Xbox, can Nintendo pull my game? I hope not.
Did you already talk about Palworld?
We did.
We did. Oh yeah, you had a different opinion on it. That's
you don't
right.
like beating cats?
No, I had a correct opinion on it.
He does not like the game.
It looks like shit. It runs like shit. It's obviously not anywhere near a complete game.
We're still talking about Palworld, not Pokemon, right?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. People like both games, Palworld and Modern Pokemon, can both be not good, and they're both
true.
In
and
my
they're selling
opinion,
millions, so it doesn't
I
really
know.
matter.
I don't get it, but like I played the game for like 2 hours. The menu system is atrocious, absolutely atrocious. No, just getting to where you need to go. And I got to go to my workbench. Oh, I have to hold X for 10 seconds while it creates. Oh, now I have to pick it up. Like, come on, speed this up. Snap this. The combat feels hollow. That game sucks ass. If you enjoy it, that's awesome. But I think there's a lot of dick riding going on for this game, and it's ridiculous. I don't care about the designs if they look like Pokemon. Pokemon shouldn't sue them. Could Pokemon take ideas from this game? Maybe. But both of these things need to go back to the damn drawing board, in my opinion.
I mean, we're talking about a lot of dick riders here, Sean. There's like, what, 4 million people right now playing?
No, it was 1 million.
3 million people have bought it in the last 40 hours, they said.
Why? What? Go buy Prince of Persia. Go buy a fucking video game that looks polished and it's fun and it's engaging to play and it tells a story and the gameplay and the combat is precise. This game looks like fucking there's pop in going on. The frame. Let me preface this by saying I am playing it on the Xbox Series X. Yes, it runs better than Pokemon, Gil Chong, but Pokemon runs like shit too. So that's not a standard like that we should be aspiring for.
They're not great though when the bar is so low.
If y'all like, harvesting crops and, gathering materials and, hitting X to slash or shoot an arrow at some fucking little sheep thing.
What if they included DoorDash? What if they put DoorDash in the game or Instacart?
Converted it to some kind of internal Tinder system.
In the game. They could put anything in the game. And I don't see the appeal. If people want to see the appeal in it, good. I'm not going to rain on their parade, but don't rain on my parade by saying it's I don't like it and it's stupid, because that's what I think.
It's stupid and you're stupid.
I never said the people who like it were stupid. I just said I think there's a lot of dick riding going on for it.
This is from Casual Noob. Says Square Enix not a Microsoft company yet, right? Or not?
Not yet.
Not yet. Jimmy says, I don't know if it's me, but Avowed Combat looked like a VR game.
You know what? Actually, you know what I was gonna say? Not a VR game necessarily.
Slow.
What was the Skyrim, the Switch Blade phone game a couple years ago? The same year that they revealed Elder Scrolls 6. What was it called? Was it like game? Yeah.
I remember talking about something Blades or something.
Yeah,
Elder Scroll Blades.
Yeah, that's what it reminded me of.
Okay. Derek says if
I
there
just
was
didn't like the enemy designs in Avowed.
Oh, okay.
And I don't understand how
else.
Generic.
Why do they look like slee stacks?
Gosh. You kept saying that word over and over.
Which game's that from?
Have you
/TV
never
show?
have you never watched Land of the Lost 1991?
1991. Not recently.
Well, you should, because the main enemies besides Scarface were the slee stacks, and the head slee stack was Shung, and he had the crystals, and he always wanted more crystals. But like
you mean the guy that's talking kind of looks like him.
There you go. It's in a chat for you guys.
Other than that, the enemy types, wasn't it like skeletons with helmets and stuff on?
They look like dinosaur slee stacks.
Derek asks, is there a way to emulate OG House of the Dead arcade Saturn version on my Wii U with motion controls, or is it not possible?
What? Wait, what House of the Dead games are on the Wii? There's
Overkill.
There's Overkill, and then
2 and 3.
2 and oh yeah.
Well, they're asking if they can emulate it arcade and Saturn version on the Wii U with motion controls.
On the Wii U?
Yes.
Probably not beefy enough on the Wii U.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sean probably has a host of emulation boxes that you could buy.
I have the games. No, you buy I would just get the fucking that new light gun that they came out with that comes with a Pandora's box. No, there's another one too that actually comes with the Pandora's box, and everything's already preloaded on it, so you don't have to worry about that. Either that or just run a Batacera build of 34 and up or 35 and up, that being the update number, because it'll automatically detect the Sinden light gun, and then you could just play whatever.
This is from Corey, who says you got to round those numbers up. Humdrum says, screenshot this, Indie, Avowed, Hellblade 2, PS5, and Switch 2, and then fill with the clown icon. Thank you, Humdrum. IRS says, RPG 69, what are your hopes for Pokemon Day next month? I'm expecting GameCube trees for Game Freak's first $70 Pokemon game. I can't wait.
I mean, ideally, the world will have already ended before we reach that, and that I think will be the ideal solution.
For the love of God.
I don't know what to expect from them anymore. I will tell you what not to expect, and that's a performance patch for that game.
No performance patch?
No performance patch.
Performance patch is coming. It's the next system.
I'm sure
that's the performance patch.
I don't think that's gonna do much either.
Well, Pokemon Day, they could do a number of things. It could be a remake again, like they could pull from their past, or they could do Pokken or all kinds of other spin-offs or a new Legends game.
I would like a new Legends game. I liked Legends. I thought it was really fun, and it was different.
Legends 2 in cinematic, 25 frames a second.
Yeah, but I mean, put it with the story that everybody is raving about with Scarlet and Violet. Give it voice acting. There you go. Good balance.
Voice act? Okay. Calm down.
Listen,
come on now.
Listen, the standards are high, so that way when people say, or I ask, is there voice acting? They say yes or no. I either play it or I don't. That's it. That's my determining factor.
Okay. This is from Ian, who says, do you guys have any concern that the MIG switch will impact the Switch used game market? Ooh.
Maybe.
MVG, this came up on I saw this on X, actually, where someone was mentioning that if a bunch of these games get dumped and then passed back into the world, the market, people might get a used cartridge that is active on the SD card.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have mine yet. I know you guys have also pre-ordered. I'll take a closer look at it when I get mine. I'm gonna sacrifice some games for the greater good to see if it actually does anything. So we'll see.
I think it'll be a niche thing. I mean, these things have been around for handhelds forever. You know, the DS had them, the 3DS had them, you know, and those were cheaper, more accessible. You could fucking walk it. I bought my Max Media Player drive at a Best Buy, and that allowed me to play backup DS games. So, like, you know, it's not necessarily a new concept or anything like that.
Yeah, I feel like this would have to happen like a mass scale for it to be something that shows up a lot. I mean, not saying it could. I mean, I guess it could. It's possible. I just don't think it's likely, especially since people are going to move on to the next system in like the next year or two anyway. I know people are thinking backwards compatible, obviously, but like, let's be real. They start showing off some of the new games and people are going to move to that anyway. And even the MIG switch itself could be left behind from that. Who knows? But definitely something to keep in mind.
I like how all these other people are getting them, and no, we didn't fucking get them, and we bought them.
It's the way they had to try to get them out there through like distributors and stuff. I don't know, that the method for that's a little spotty. So
the whole thing is pretty spotty, honestly.
Definitely wrong. Getting the product out there is
not wrong. That whole dumper thing is
but now the dumpers are back. They're just not going to be included.
They're $65 separately now.
Fuck off. MEG, you bought? Did you buy a dumper?
I did.
All right, you better. Yeah. I'm gonna demand that you make all of these patches for these ROMs that are out there, so it's nice and easy for me.
David says, "Yeah, I'm gonna be curious to see MVG's take on this thing. Yeah, see what they have going on there, because sketchy." David says, Palworld is very fascinating, and it's proven just how toxic the Pokemon community has become. Well, that's not really new.
It is very funny to see people like circling little parts of a Pokemon and then circling like a part of a pal and be like, oh, these look similar. I think they could sue. It's like, holy fuck.
Well,
don't do it for free, pal.
It has I mean, that community has always been they've been a lot of infighting in general, so is this what you're seeing now is
also
that
the
new?
Same community that does smash or pass for Pokemon. So
well,
they're trying to fuck Pokemon.
Yeah,
apparently.
I mean, the fan base also, I feel like really does not like, most of the time, the company itself, like Game Freak and stuff. Like they get pretty wild against all of them. So T-Joe says some games are built for replays though. New Game Plus is genuinely useful in Chrono Trigger, sure, and where your playthrough can be different from the last.
Yeah, Starfield is a good example of that. Nier Automata obviously has, different runs you can do through that game.
Yeah, but imagine you had to pay for it though. Like, in my opinion now, right, how much is Like a Dragon gonna be?
I feel like that's gonna be 70, right? It's gonna be a $70.
So you're paying $70 for one playthrough. Like you're paying $70 for one playthrough, right? It's like for me, like I say, am I going to get my money's worth out of this game? Is one playthrough going to be worth $70 for me? Because if I'm going to play a game that I have I have access to keep playing this over and over, I'll get my $70 worth. Me, it's now like, am I going to get the one run? Is that going to count as my money's worth? That feels ridiculous to me.
It is 70.
Ridiculous.
On the platforms.
Jeez.
GCD says, didn't machines game devs create Escape from Butcher Bay before becoming machine games?
If they did, that's a good game.
Yes, they did. Let
me see the Riddick game. Yeah, let me see who was. It'll probably say here who it was. Tygon Studios, Starbreeze Studios. Yes, I believe because they were. Yes, I believe some of those devs came over from that and became machine games. Yeah, I mean, people were looking at indie and kind of were getting some of those Riddick vibes from when they were going through like the different archaeological dig sites and stuff. So Steven says the dev said on their blog that most of the 100 Pals was designed by one graduate student. So
y'all supporting fucking child labor.
Some Gen AI or the student is severely underpaid is what they said.
God damn. What company made this? Where are they located?
Oh gosh. What's really funny, Sean?
Singapore.
Before you came on, we said I've not heard of this developer before until now.
Just go to their site, Sean, and watch each of the trailers. You'll know exactly which game they're each supposed to be.
So there's a programmer and a artist. Pocket Pear. Sounds American as apple pie.
Just watch all the trailers that they have for each game.
Over Dungeon, AI, Art Imposter, Craftopia. Oh, and that was another thing. I think it looks like an asset flip.
Oh, yeah.
Like, don't those assets look fucking, like, aside from the pals, like the world, the characters, they all look very asset
Well, they're
flippy.
using the Unreal Engine, right? And I think, doesn't that come with some pretty basic world building tools for trees and grass? Yeah, a lot of people do that.
Oh, yeah, okay. Keep riding the meat.
Oh gosh, Bobby says Pokemon with guns was always a corny idea, to be honest. It's kind of funny, actually, but like when you see the little pals with the machine gun. Cristobal says Palworld's Pokemon like Mons with guns are not as cute, but I already love them more than the regular tired Pokemon. How is Jordan, Fringe, and Max? Jordan is actually at MagFest right now, and Max, I believe, is moving. So they are quite busy.
It's time for his yearly move.
Man.
He is on the move a lot.
He moves every fucking year. God damn, are you on the run or something, bro? Tell me.
He has a nomadic spirit.
Something.
Hey, shout out to Max. Let's talk about GDC. MVG, you are aware of GDC. You've been to GDC. You know GDC.
Yes.
Okay. This always comes up, and I maybe it's just because it's referred to as GDC. What is GDC, MVG?
GDC is the Game Developer Conference. It's in San Francisco every March, and it is a industry trade show where basically all developers attend and really, set up interviews and meetings. There's potential indie developers that are looking for partners and publishers. So there's lots of, deals that get signed at GDC. There's also industry talks where there'll be industry people that will do specific, seminars and sessions. So it's really just a whole week-long session of developer talks and conferences and meetups and, pitching deals and signing deals and stuff like that.
Any sketchy stuff going on there?
Any sketchy stuff? There was COVID that was spread around a couple of years ago at the event, but other than that,
swingers parties. Any swingers parties?
Nothing that I remember.
I could bring up something, but I won't.
Okay.
There was a survey that they put out to 3,000 developers, I guess, that were going to be heading out to GDC. 8% of them apparently are working on games for Switch Successor. 8% of them, I should say, were willing to admit that they were working on games for the Switch Successor. Might be the better way to phrase it there. But then 32% said that they are interested in working on games for Nintendo's next system. Now, I don't think that's too surprising based on the current status of the Switch. But if you go back to, say, the days of the Wii U leading up to the Switch, that number was quite a bit lower. So from the Wii U leading up to Switch, the Wii to the Wii U was higher because obviously the Wii did well. So I'm curious if we're thinking that the Switch 2 or the next gen Switch could just end up with more third-party support outright because it seems much more popular right now for the Switch going into the system as opposed to the Wii U to the Switch 2, where a lot of these people felt burnt. They even mentioned it before. Bandai said that they felt bad because they missed out on it, and the Pokemon Company even said we didn't really believe that the Switch would do anything compared to what it could have been if it was a home console.
Yeah,
yep,
I mean,
you're right.
Yeah, I mean, it's very difficult to compare both scenarios, but obviously the Switch has been very, very successful. And most developers that publish their games on Switch, they have a good idea about how it's going to do as far as sales, and because there's so many Switches out there, is really a very desirable platform to bring your games to. So I think this time around, there's obviously a lot more interest in the Switch 2 from third parties that they wanna be there. You look at the launch lineup of the Switch. Again, it was a different time, so I'm not trying to do a one-to-one comparison here. But if you can bring your games out to the Switch 2 early, that really puts you in a good position to generate some good sales, right? Because there's only going to be a handful of first-party releases at launch on the launch window, and so third parties really want to be there at the start to get their games to kind of maximize their sales potential. So I think there is a lot of interest this time. Makes total sense to me.
if you look at the Switch launch lineup versus the Wii U launch lineup, it is crazy how much smaller the Switch was. I didn't even realize that until I just looked at it now. But the Wii U had a number of titles ready to go at launch. They had, I mean, there was a Madden ready to go. I know Mass Effect, that was a whole thing because they had the trilogy on the other platforms. They're like,
was Zombie U a launch title?
I believe it was.
I really like that game.
They had that. They had a Ninja Gaiden.
Oh yeah.
They had Sonic All Stars Racing ready to go. They had Darksiders 2. Call of Duty was there ready to roll. Assassin's Creed, Batman Arkham City. But then you look at the Switch, and the Switch had 1-2 Switch, Just Dance, Breath of the Wild, of course, Skylanders, Superman R, I Am Setsuna, Snipper Clips, Shovel Knight, then Fast RMX. That was the launch lineup for the Switch. Almost like, oh yeah, the Wii U didn't do well enough for us to spend the next several years for Nintendo's gamble. Where now, I almost wonder if we get a similar launch lineup or even a window of that, we'll say in the holiday, where it looks closer to this Wii U. Like, what if EA even brought over Madden for the launch of the next system?
I mean, I think that just goes to show how much faith they had in Breath of the Wild.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because it had to carry the system. Yeah, for Nintendo. Mm-hmm. But I'm thinking like third party wise.
Has been Heroes. Come on now. Quality game.
Okay.
Nobody played. Was that a launch game?
It was launch window. I think it was June.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because even just looking at launch, like if you look at the Wii U, like the day
Bomberman and
32 games.
Yeah, I got Breath of the Wild and Bomberman, and that's all I had for a long time, but for a while.
How many hours did we put into Breath of the Wild? You know?
Yeah, I mean, and then we had Mario Kart came out the following month. That was in April. But the when we went for the event for the Switch, they had a bunch of TV set up and everyone just wanted to play Breath of the Wild, but they had like Bomberman, they had a Street Fighter game set up.
Ultra Street Fighter 2, the final challengers. Show some respect. Wave the Hado mode.
Everyone just wanted to play Breath of the Wild, and that was it. So you could just walk up to I actually took the time then to use the Pro Controller because no one was at the other booth. So I was like, oh, I'll just hang out, check out the Pro Controller a bit, and no one was like, in line, like, hurry up, come on. But they just had ARMS there, I think, too. But it was very interesting to see that a lot of interest at the Street Fighters and stuff compared to Breath of the Wild.
Wait. Ultra Street Fighter 2 sold over 1 mil.
I think Disgaea was there too. No one cared about that one either.
I mean, only 1 mil, but I mean that's pretty good.
That's good. No, that's good. Yeah, for Street Fighter,
for a small indie
I feel
company.
like the name Street Fighter is popular, but I don't. Like they just celebrated 3 million copies sold. They're trying to get on PAL. They got to get on Palworld's level here. Okay.
You had Wave the Hado mode. Okay, that was fun. You had Demon Ken and Evil Ryu. It was a quality title. I believe I kept that game.
Okay.
I lied.
Well, not that good then.
Well, I had a digital copy because I got a review copy of it.
Are you excited about GDC MVG? Within reason for what you can speak about.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a good time. Last year we had a lot of fun. It was very, very successful as far as the actual conference itself. Yeah, I mean, it's always good to basically head out there and meet up with everyone again. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be busy. We've already got a lot of meetings booked and stuff like that. But yeah, it's always a good time. And to basically not be working in the office type of thing is always a good thing too. So
beautiful art, beautiful.
The artwork was nice.
Too.
Yeah.
Does it have a booklet inside?
No, it's just a bunch of words.
Sad.
It's just a bunch of words. Safety information. Don't eat the cartridge.
Tell me how to live my life.
I am curious, MVG, as you've been to GDC a lot, and there's a lot of talk that happens there between developers. Do you think it would be a good idea for Nintendo to at least convey some information about their next system before GDC, based on, again, a lot of the talk that goes on there?
I think it would be a good idea if they did that. Now, whether they will, I don't know, right? But I will say this, if they haven't announced their plans before GDC, there's going to be so much chatter going around at GDC about it, about what's happening, when's this thing coming out, all that sort of stuff. So I think it would be a good idea if Nintendo did announce their plans before GDC, and I think hopefully they will. But it's Nintendo, man. We don't necessarily know what their plans are.
Sure. Yeah, it's March 18th is GDC, so we're about 2 months out. And March is, I think, when a lot of people are thinking we could see some movement from Nintendo on it, because their fiscal year also ends March 31st. So it all kind of lines up, but I do envision there just being a lot of chatter about Nintendo's next system there either way. So it might not be a bad idea for Nintendo to at least just kind of get that out there. Like even a teaser trailer like they did for the Switch, where they just kind of showed off what it was exactly, just to kind of give people an idea. So
yeah.
Let me see. I do want to quickly talk about Halo Infinite, as they are moving away from their seasons, and it seems like they are going to be moving more of the development over to a new Halo game.
Wait. What
comes out?
Where's my 10-year plan for this game?
Yeah, and what comes after Infinite in the number sequence?
I'll be real, Sean. I think that went out the window when Bonnie Ross left and Joseph Staten left.
But they didn't update us. They didn't say, "Hey, we're no longer doing a 10-year plan like we said we were."
There was no long JPEG of a paragraph with words.
Yeah,
nothing.
They kind of talked about this a bit recently with the community. Like they did like their video where they kind of talk about what's going on with Halo and are they going to do seasons or what's happening. And they said that they're done with seasons. They're going to do basically these operations or like content updates. So very small updates compared to the seasons that they were trying to do every quarter or something, which that had a hard time keeping up. But as we've seen we just saw it with The Last of Us Online. They said, are we going to do Last of Us Online or are we going to go do another game? And I kind of feel like Bungie's fallen in that situation with Destiny 2. And maybe they were like, do we want to make another Halo or do we want to keep pushing Halo Infinite along? And I kind of think right now, a lot of stuff's moving to the next Halo. So I don't know what you call it after Halo Infinite. I don't know.
Maybe you should try to aim it so you can like use it to help sell your next what your mascot's supposed to be for, you know?
You can call it Infinite Next, Infinite 2, Infinite Squared,
no, Halo Infinite 2.
Halo, Infinity and Beyond.
Infinite Delta. There's so many things. Just add something that sounds cool after the word Infinite.
Halo has fallen.
Halo has fallen. It's tough. I'm not really sure what it's going to be exactly or what they're going to call it. Or it's still going to be open world, kind of. Or I would prefer that they just go back. They make a Halo game that is straightforward with the campaign, and it's just an arena shooter that they treat less like it's pretty clear they were trying to do the live service Fortnite thing and it just wasn't working. So I feel like you go back to the arena shooter.
Maybe people would want to play your game if hacking wasn't such an issue. And maybe also if you fixed your footstep audio. God dang, bro. Can't hear people running behind me. Makes me rage every single freaking time.
They basically would need to launch it in a significantly better state than Infinite was, where we didn't even have a Team Slayer playlist when it came out, which was crazy.
Fix the UI too. Do you want to talk about the UI, John? UI is
it was designed for console.
Go in there to start tearing everything down.
It hasn't changed.
Yeah, so I feel like because they have new leadership there at 343 now. I don't know what happened with Certain Affinity. People were talking about whatever their project was for Halo being canceled, and maybe it's not, and maybe it's moved on to the next thing. I feel like you start working on the next Halo now, which they've already apparently been working on it, and you position it to launch with their next system. And like, that's the big launch title with it. So it'd take them a while to build it, but that would, and you know what? Move off the Slipspace engine. Like, just go to something more familiar, because they're doing the contractor thing anyway. Like, you know about that, MVG, where they're just cycling people through pretty consistently. Maybe you go to Unreal Engine and you just build on that.
Yeah, and aren't there some rumors that that's what they're doing? Like, haven't we? There were some articles about it. VGC or someone maybe said that they were looking into it, or their next stuff is using UE. So I would expect something like that to happen going forward.
Go to Unreal Engine and just build on it. Yep, build Halo. So go back to the roots, the arena shooter roots, and bring Master Chief back. Make him relevant again. So.
Master Cheeks. Base it off the TV show.
Don't take his helmet off.
No, base it off the TV show. It's canon now.
No.
It's canon, John.
No,
it's canon.
Leave the helmet on. Don't do that. Don't take the helmet off. This is from This is from Donovan Stewart, who says, "Are we still getting Prime 2 plus 3 on Switch?"
That's a good question.
Said that rumor. Who made that rumor up?
That's been the ongoing rumor for a while, hasn't it? Where we have Prime remastered, and now we're gonna get 2 and 3 as separate releases, maybe like $20-$30 releases or something.
You can't have a series that is known as the trilogy and not release the other rest of the trilogy. You just can't do it, John. They have to be there. I don't even care if they're remade or remastered or whatever. What? I don't even think a remaster is a remaster anymore. Up is down, down is up. Listen, just bring 2 or 3 over exactly as they are, and I'll be happy.
But you got to do work on 3. You have to add normal controls into it.
Oh yeah, because all the motion stuff. That's a good point.
Yeah, it's all
like a lot of work
built around. What do you?
Oh yeah, you're right. No, because I did when I played the trilogy, I played with the Wiimote and I loved it more actually than the button controls. No, I mean if they did Skyward Sword, anything's possible, so they'll be fine.
Yeah, but they did Skyward Sword at $60.
That's the one thing that's tripping me up is the idea of like it's not going to be 3 would take more work, more resources. I could see that being more expensive. So
I think they could, even if they had motion in it, it wouldn't be bad.
Well, it seems like now would be the time to do it, where you have remasters bridging the gap between the current system and the next system, because we're already seeing that. So people are talking about a direct at some point here in the next month or 2. Drop that in. This is and also Steven asks, what's everyone's favorite Metroid game?
Super.
Okay.
Prime.
I think I'm going to go with the first Metroid Prime. That was just such an impact when that showed up on the GameCube.
That's a very close second. I mean, I bought a GameCube to play Metroid Prime.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was something else with that, because originally I was looking at Halo like it was this incredible looking game, and I'm like, oh, Metroid Prime looks like just as good, and it's running at 60. So, Donovan asks, max number of games you guys play at one time?
Like all at the same time, multiple screens? 3.
Hold on a minute. At the same time, like if I'm switching between games, the number gets up there sometimes, especially if I'm playing some games for fun, and then also, I was going to review this game or
I don't know how you do it, John. I don't know how you guys like do the whole review game and then also have games that you just want to play for fun. For me, it's like
for fun.
I have a game.
Well, the game for fun is usually us just fucking playing bullshit online, like WWE, which I love playing because John knows that I am better than him at that game.
John's pretty good at WWE
and
now.
he does this little sigh every time we play, and it makes me so happy because he'll think he'll have like the upper hand advantage and just say, and it's
the game's cheating.
Yes, it feels so good. Do it again.
Counters aren't working.
Yeah, I think for me it's I mean right now it's pretty much just like 1 or 2 games, and I think being a parent has changed it a little bit too, but mainly for streaming, it's like a game that I can pick up at any time in my personal time is one that I'll play, versus like if I'm doing a single player, on stream with someone. So usually at most it's like 2, maybe 3 if one of those is on the phone or something.
Okay. Yeah, so I sometimes bounce around 3 or 4 even, just to, like you said, impressions and then also try to make videos on them, so you can stack up. This is from Hellman, who says Sonic and All-Stars Racing is on par with Mario Kart.
I mean, that's the one that has all the Sega characters in it, right?
I didn't like the steering controls for that.
Is that the one hold on. Wasn't Sonic All-Stars? Yeah, I feel like Sonic All-Stars Racing was that.
Does it have Ryu from Shenmue? Is it that one?
I remember it did have people, because it had like the monkey from Super Monkey Ball in it.
Yeah, I didn't like the physics on that one. Maybe I just had to get used to it better, but.
This is from Steven, who says, Binding of Isaac Afterbirth launched 2 days after Switch launch and was on Switch first.
Sure, it came with a manual too if you got the physical edition.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I know a lot of people say 2023 has been like one of the best years ever for games and stuff, but I'm like, did we forget 2017 exists? Like, even just for the Switch, like I look at the lineup and
I
just
forget
like
2001 exists.
Yeah, 2001 is a goat.
But I mean,
or
as
99.
far as, like, yeah, but I feel like that was a completely different like environment for people to even acknowledge games. You know what I mean? I'm talking about just even in like the last decade. Like I feel like 2017 for some reason is just people don't even remember it happening.
2001 is pretty legit, but this past year was good too. So let me double check over on StreamYard to see if we had any. Then we can go around here as we finish up. Let me start over with MVG. Where can everyone find you?
You can find me on X at Modern Vintage.
Oh, fuck off!
you and this X thing, Sean. You got to get used to it eventually. They renamed it X.
Nobody calls it that. So because of that, I don't have to get used to it.
You can also find me on youtube.com/Modern Vintage Gamer.
Oh,
thanks for having me.
Lame.
Thank you. What about Misclick? Where can I find you?
Yeah, thanks for having me. You can find me here on YouTube as Misclick Gaming, where you can actually catch live streams there now. So I know a lot of you were like, I'm never going to Twitch. Well, I'm streaming to YouTube now, so it's just for you. You're welcome. I caved. Other than that, you can find me majority of the time on Twitter or Instagram as _misclick_, and then twitch.tv/misclick_live.
Okay. What about Evan? Evan, you've been doing a lot with your tabletop.
Yeah.
Tabletop.
Over here on YouTube at Kimmerix Project, doing a lot of videos, trying to keep that moving before I possibly burn out, and then streaming here as well, Monday, Thursday, and Friday.
Did I hear that you hit 4,000 subscribers, Evan?
Last week near the end.
Congrats.
Wow. Good stuff. That was quick. I feel like that actually happened from 3,000 to 4,000 pretty quick.
It was all right. It slowed down at the end of last year because I was doing like one video a month just because, but yeah.
You playing around with the short stuff too?
Shorts, yeah. Trying to do more Aqua Teen Hunger Force style mini sketches.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, good stuff. And then what about Sean over there?
You can find me at on, of course, Twitter and at youtube.com/dream.
The hell?
The question is, can he breathe in at the same time now?
Oh, he's got smoker's lungs.
He said no.
Cast guy. Actually, come to the after show because I got a new pro wrestling loot box to open up, and it's heavy.
Oh, snap. Okay.
Gonna be a fun time.
Unboxing video. Do you got the downward cam, or are you just gonna kind of cheese it out and just show people things?
Come on. What do you think this is?
So shitty, dude. So.
What do you think this fucking is?
No.
Oh God. Well, I gotta go make margaritas. So.
Well, I'll just do the show myself if I have to.
There you go. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We will be back next Saturday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time, and we'll see you guys then.
Bye, friends.